I'm very pleased to have you guys here for the presentation from Canada to Ireland, Healthcare Degrees on the Emerald Isle. And I would just like to formally appreciate you all for taking the patience and time out of your day to join us here for this presentation. Next slide, please. During the presentation, do feel free to click on the Q&A button as seen here on the top of your screen to type out your questions, as this will be our best way to communicate with you and answer your questions today. Our behind the scenes team is here to answer any straightforward questions that you may have, but we'll save some time at the end of the presentation to answer a few questions as well. And if you have a little bit more of a nuanced or specific question, we do ask that you hold off until the end of the webinar and maybe give us a call or send us an email to best assist you. Now, with all of those housekeeping notes out of the way, next slide, please.
I'm sharing or Aiden? Oh, okay.
I lost my side of the screen there. Alrighty. Thank you once again for joining and welcome everyone, or Falcha as they say in Irish Gaelic. My name is Lainey Nugent and I'm an admissions counselor here with Atlantic Bridge. Now, this picture was taken of me actually at one of our partner universities, the University College Cork, and this was during my first ever and so far only trip so far to Ireland, but it absolutely won't be my last because I absolutely fell in love with the people, the food, the lifestyle, and of course, the history and the landscape. Now, during our time together, we'll not only focus on why Ireland is one of the best places outside of Canada and the US to study medicine, dentistry, physiotherapy, and pharmacy, but we'll also be covering the many ways that Atlantic Bridge can support and guide your process of applying to the healthcare programs of your choice. Next slide, please. So, why work with us at Atlantic Bridge? Well, I'm very, very glad that you asked. Next slide, please. The first reason is that Atlantic Bridge is the exclusive representative in North America for the Irish healthcare programs. Our entry requirements reflect the university's minimum requirements, but are tailored to the North American education system, so you won't be asked for any requirements that might not fit within your education system. We've also been supporting students in their educational journeys for over 30 years, and Atlantic Bridge has helped thousands of students secure places in Ireland's world-class universities. Additionally, we've streamlined the often complicated process of applying to an overseas program, and with the help of our custom portal, applying is straightforward. And with just a single application and one set of documents, you can apply to as few or as many as the schools as you like. Another bonus is you'll be assigned to a dedicated admissions counselor, like myself. And the best part? We're not AI, and we're real humans that can contact you or be contacted, and we'll either pick up the phone or call you back as soon as possible with any questions that you may have. Another perk, for those of you on the East Coast especially, is that our office is based in California, which means we're on Pacific time. This means that if it's 5 p.m. in Toronto, then there's a great chance that you'll still be able to reach us because we are hard at work. And finally, when it comes to graduates, there are currently over 5,000 practicing clinicians in North America, and we're proud to have had the chance to support and guide them through their journey. So you might be thinking, why study in Ireland? Well, besides the Emerald Isle, as it's known, being a top-ranked professional healthcare destination, it's also rich with history and brimming with charming cities, enchanting countrysides, and calming seascapes. Another bonus is its proximity to the UK and Europe. A flight from Dublin to London? Well, you'll arrive in less than 90 minutes. And as you can see, the views flying across the ocean are gorgeous. Now, when it comes to the cutting-edge education outside of North America, Ireland is at the top of the list. And the big reason is, well, they're leaders in healthcare education and research. Additionally, the majority of the degrees are internationally recognized. And, next slide, please. The schools offer a modern integrated curriculum, which provides more holistic and relevant learning experience to you. And depending on the type of program that you choose, the duration can run anywhere between 2 to 6 years. Now, Ireland is primarily an English-speaking country, so while it does have 2 recognized languages, both Irish Gaelic and English, only 1% of the population speaks Irish, which means that all of your classes, as well as daily life, will be conducted in English. Next slide, please. And when it comes to culture and the student experience, well, Ireland can't be beat. In fact, every year without fail, we hear from students who tell us how welcomed and supported they felt from the very start. Now, the Irish are legendary for being warm and welcoming, and the international student community is no exception. So now that we've covered some of the perks of studying in Ireland, let's take a look at the map to get a better idea of where the universities are located. Our first stop is Queen's University Belfast, which is based in Northern Ireland and is part of the United Kingdom. Anyone a fan of the show Dairy Girls on Netflix? Well, Queen's University is located in the same county, Londonderry, where the show is set. And Queen's University offers a traditional 4-year campus in the heart of Belfast, the capital city of Northern Ireland. Next stop, the dynamic city of Dublin, which is home to 3 more schools. The first of these schools is University College Dublin. Now, this university is a more traditional campus situated just a few kilometers outside of Dublin city centre. And beyond the realm of healthcare, the university is also home to students across many academic disciplines, including the health sciences. Next, we have the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, or as it's more commonly known, RCSI, which offers only healthcare degrees. It's situated as a city center campus, which is similar to the University of Toronto, where they teach students across instructional buildings dotted around the city. Next slide, please. And last but certainly not least in Dublin, we have Trinity College Dublin, which is also located in the heart of the capital and just a few blocks from RCSI. Trinity College Dublin offers a more traditional university setting with its students pursuing a range of educational disciplines. Next slide, please. And at the southernmost tip of the island is University College Cork, which is where I visited. This is another traditional university campus in the city of Cork, Ireland's second largest city. Now, Cork is the foodie capital of Ireland, boasting some of the best eats in the country. In fact, I had one of the most amazing caramelized onion burgers there of my life, and I'm excited to go back and have more. Next slide, please. On the west coast of Ireland is the University of Limerick, which is based in one of the oldest cities in Ireland. And fun fact, it's home to the country's newest medical school, established in 1989. But if you find yourself craving the days of yore, well, don't you worry. The city is full of historical sites dating all the way back to the year it was established by Vikings in the year 812. To me, that is absolutely mind-blowing. Next slide, please. To the north is the University of Galway, which coincidentally is based in the city of Galway and is also known as Ireland's cultural heart. The coastal city hosts festivals and celebrations throughout the year supporting local art and artists. Next slide, please. And finally, but certainly not last, the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, Bahrain, also referred to as RCSI Bahrain, is located in the Middle East and is a flagship campus of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, Dublin. Next slide, please. RCSI's commitment to building a sister campus in Bahrain was spurred from their belief in building collaborations across the globe to fulfill its 200-year mission of teaching, discovery, and engagement. The Medical University of Bahrain offers the same accreditation as RCSI's Dublin campus, but the main difference is that the Middle East campus offers a slightly sunnier climate compared to the Dublin-based counterpart. Next slide, please. So now that you have a slightly better understanding of where the universities are located, you might be saying, I want to apply, but what are my options? Well, let's get started with medicine and their entry requirements. Next slide, please. Now, please note this presentation will cover only high-level basic requirements, so I strongly encourage you to visit our website after the webinar to ensure that you meet each program's specific entry requirements before applying. Now, for medicine, there are 4- and 5-year medical programs for bachelor degree students. And these universities would be at, next slide please, the 4-year graduate entry medicine programs at University College Cork, University College Dublin, the University of Limerick, and RCSI. You can also apply to the 5-year programs at University of Galway, Trinity College Dublin, and RCSI Bahrain for North American applicants. Now, all of these programs, once again, will require a bachelor's degree awarded by August of year of entry. However, the 4-year schools will require an MCAT or GAMSAT examination to be taken by the end of January, but no later than February 2026 for fall 2026 entry. And the 5-year programs do not require the MCAT or the GAMSAT exam. University level courses in biology, chemistry, and either math or physics are expected to be present on your transcripts. Next slide, please. Upon graduation, you will be awarded a suite of degrees that are equivalent to the Canadian and US MD degree, and these are recognized in North America as well as around the world. But what if you started college and won't yet have a degree? Well, for students like you, if you've already started your undergraduate career but will not have a completed degree by the year of entry, you may apply to the 5-year programs at RCSI, University College Dublin, University College Cork, and University of Galway. Now, candidates from this background will need to supply both their university and high school transcripts. And the admissions committees will place emphasis on strong performance in specifically university-level courses pertaining to chemistry, biology, and either math or physics. And please note, if you are completing a bachelor's degree by year of entry, you will only be considered for the 4-year graduate entry programs at RCSI, University College Dublin, and University College Cork. There unfortunately are no 5-year pathways for you to those 4 schools. And these degrees, just as the previously mentioned 4- and 5-year programs, will award you a suite of degrees that are equivalent to the Canadian and US MD degree. But what if you're a student who's looking to apply directly out of high school? Well, you may apply to the 6-year programs at RCSI, University College Dublin, the University of Galway, and RCSI with just a high school diploma. Now, these programs are geared toward younger students, and you would begin with a foundation year that focuses on pre-med courses before entering the 5-year medical program. So that's 1 foundation year plus a 5-year medical program, equating to a 6-year program for high school students. Now, those applying to this 6-year programs will want to demonstrate GPAs based off the top 6 grade 11 and 12 marks, with an average of 85% at minimum for most programs. Students are encouraged to have coursework in, you guessed it, chemistry, biology, and either math or physics. But if you have taken advanced courses, specifically AP and International Baccalaureate or IB programs, you may be eligible to apply to the 5-year programs as well. Now, these programs are similar to the 6-year programs, but they do not include a foundation year. And please note that Trinity College Dublin and University College Cork do not offer AP pathways. You would exclusively be eligible to apply to those out of high school with an IB diploma. Now, a brief note to the 5- and 6-year applicants of RCSI. The Casper Situational Judgment Test is a mandatory part of the application process for RCSI. Now, this test is used to assess social intelligence and professional characteristics such as empathy, communication, and collaboration. In this assessment, Casper presents you with hypothetical dilemmas and asks you to respond to them based on your ethical judgment and personal values. No clinical experience or training is required for this evaluation, nor is there specific study materials to prepare for this exam. Once again, you're presented with scenarios and asked to respond to them. And for the 4-year program, Graduate Entry Medicine RCSI applicants, you are not required or asked to take this exam. Please don't sign up for it. You won't be included in your application. Now, all IB students are going to be expected to take chemistry at the higher level for the IB program pathways, and an average of 36 total minimum score on all 6 exams, exclusive of bonus points, will be required as well. Additionally, for IB program students, University College Cork, University College Dublin, Trinity College Dublin, and RCSI Bahrain will require you to take all 6 IB exams in one session, which usually is spring of your grade 12 year. Now, some of your schools may not give you the opportunity to take all 6 IB exams in 1 year, which would mean that you may only apply to the 5-year programs at RCSI and University of Galway with your IB marks. You could be considered for the 6-year programs still at University College Dublin and the RCSI Bahrain program as well. Now, all applicants are able to get degrees that are equivalent to a US and Canadian MD degree once again. Now, when it comes to support while you're abroad, I promise that you're going to be in great hands, especially as you prepare for residency. NIMSA, or the North American Irish Medical Student Association, is a student-led organization that exists across most of the Irish universities. Through NIMSA, upper years provide guidance and support to the lower years, and the organization works closely with the school's international teams to hold social events and informational sessions for their peers. Next slide, please. Now, board examination preparation for the USMLE and the MCCQE, or the residential qualifying exams, are extremely important for North Americans specifically looking to return home and work in North America. Support services include NIMSA informational presentations, study materials and resources, and simulated exams. The universities will also conduct check-in points throughout the program to ensure that you're on track for whichever pathway you're looking for your future. Now, Atlantic Bridge has recently started and coordinated with the schools a co-facilitated career preparation program to support students during their studies in Ireland by connecting them with a mentor, specifically a North American physician, about their residency plans. The mentor will provide guidance based on the student's CV, academic performance, and their goals for residency. Next slide, please. And the final step before applying to residency is, of course, completing those applications. Now, the universities are very accommodating within reason for the licensing exams and residency programs interviews. The schools will also offer interview strategy resources along with the career centers that offer CV building workshops and personal statement support. Now, another student-run program is the Teddy Bear Hospital, this one specifically at the University of Galway. Now, it's an annual event that helps kids get more comfortable going to the doctor. So let's take a look at a short video. And I promise the audio does exist on the YouTube video, and I will link it on our recording on our YouTube page so you may enjoy it yourself as well. Thank you, team, for getting that video up for us. And once again, I will link that video in our webinar description on our YouTube page. If we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So with the Teddy Bear Hospital, once again, it's just an event designed to help students feel a little bit more comfortable around healthcare workers, and it helps our healthcare working students get a little bit more comfortable working around kids and helping them create a great connection with their healthcare providers. And just a quick fun fact from the video as well, the student doctor featured, Jessica, is actually an Atlantic Bridge student. So we're very excited to see the great work that she's doing as well. Next slide, please. Now, the University of Galway's Teddy Bear Hospital was founded back in 2006, almost 20 years ago. That's amazing. By their Slánta Society. Now, that is very poor Irish on my part, but it is more commonly referred to as the Health Promotion Society. And this event has been replicated across other Irish universities, including RCSI and the University of Limerick. Next slide, please. Not only does this event give local Irish children a chance to experience the healthcare system in a welcoming and engaging manner without the fears brought on by a hospital setting, but the medical students are able to continue their bedside manner development as well. Next slide, please. The Irish healthcare system, not just in medicine, but across various fields, firmly believes in the power of early patient contact during your program, often beginning between one semester and 1 year ahead of their peers in Canada and the US. Now, students will see an emphasis placed on the development of their bedside manner, along with their medical knowledge in a clinical setting. And when graduating from an Irish medical school, residency programs in North America know the quality of care that's built into the Irish curriculum, which gives you a great bonus when applying back home for residency. So now that we've talked at length about medicine, let's go ahead and dive into the dentistry programs. Now, quick fun fact, this chair is not a medieval torture device, but it's actually a dental chair from roughly the turn of the 20th century on display at RCSI. Don't worry, it's not still in use. Back in 1884, RCSI appointed Ireland and the UK's first ever professor of dentistry, Dr. Theodore Stack. That was almost 150 years ago. But today, the university is thrilled to offer a new dental program starting in the fall of 2025 and welcome students into their brand new state-of-the-art facilities with upgraded chairs. Now that is pretty impressive, right? In just 150 years, the technology that we've created, it's quite incredible. Now, comprised of small groups, Irish dentistry programs ensure that every student have their own patient chair, whether they're working on a person, real life, or mannequin, not real life, to provide hands-on, realistic experiences in their students before they graduate and really as part of their curriculum. Now, with an emphasis on supporting underserved Irish community members, these patient-oriented programs not only allow students to make positive impacts in urban and rural areas, but they graduate with the knowledge and skills to be incredible dentists for any patient. So let's take a quick peek at the entry requirements. Woohoo! Now, the 5-year entry programs for University College Cork, Trinity College Dublin, RCSI, and Queen's University Belfast will require a bachelor's degree awarded by August of year of entry. University-level courses in chemistry, biology, and either math or physics are expected to be present on your transcript, along with a letter of recommendation from a practicing dentist or dental professional that you have worked with. There are also 5-year entry programs for students who are applying without an undergraduate degree. So if you are a student who is partway through their college degree or you have completed a high school diploma by year of entry, you can specifically apply to the Queen's University Belfast. However, only high school students who are presenting IB diploma marks may apply to RCSI. Unfortunately, there's not a pathway for students who are presenting just a high school diploma or are just partway through their university career. Now, candidates for all the dental programs, once again, are required to present a letter of recommendation from a practicing dentist or dental professional. Next slide, please. Now, you will receive a Bachelor's of Dental Science from any of the Irish dental schools that you graduate from. And while these degrees are recognized globally, there may be some additional licensing required. For the universities highlighted there, the University College Cork and Trinity College Dublin, they are part of the Mutual Recognition Agreement, meaning that your degree is equivalent to a degree that is taught in dentistry for Canadian students. It is equivalent, they count it the same between the Irish Dental Council and the Canadian dental authorities as well. However, Queen's University Belfast, as it's based in Northern Ireland and under UK jurisdiction, is unfortunately not considered part of the Mutual Recognition Agreement. And you would require additional training after graduating from Queen's University Belfast in order to practice in Canada. Additionally, as I previously shared, RCSI's dental program is new, and new dental programs in Ireland will receive full accreditation upon the graduation of their very first class. Since they start this year, 2025, RCSI has been working closely with Ireland's dental accrediting body, the Dental Council of Ireland, to ensure that full accreditation will be awarded when the first graduates are conferred 5 years from now with their degree in dentistry in the year of 2030. So more information will be available as time goes on, but at this current moment, it is not currently accredited in Canada, but there are pathways and plans in place in order to make it so. Next slide, please. So you've heard about medicine and you've heard about dentistry. So let's chat about the final two programs, physiotherapy and pharmacy. Applicants who complete undergraduate degrees by August of the year of entry in areas such as kinesiology, anatomy, physiology, biomedical science, or sports and exercise science may apply to the 2-year programs at University College Dublin and the University of Limerick. Now, if you're a student who is partway through their college degree or have completed a high school diploma by the year of entry, you may apply to the 3- or 4-year programs at RCSI. And please note that university graduates may also apply to RCSI. Also, all physiotherapy students should seek experience in a physiotherapy clinic. And one other additional note is that University College Dublin specifically requires a letter of recommendation from a physiotherapist. And they're the only program that allows 3 letters of recommendation for the application. Now, pharmacy with the Irish schools keep it very easy for you. As long as you've completed at least a high school diploma by year of entry, you may apply at any point in your education to the 5-year programs at University College Cork, Trinity College Dublin, and RCSI. The 2-year physiotherapy programs at University College Dublin and University of Limerick will award you with an MSc in physiotherapy, and RCSI will award a BSc in physiotherapy. The pharmacy programs all award Master's in Pharmacy degrees, and much like medicine and dentistry, the degrees are recognized globally. So you've heard it several times now, but just to reiterate once more, candidates for both the physiotherapy and pharmacy programs, along with medicine and dentistry, are encouraged to have, you say it with me, chemistry, biology, and either math or physics. And those courses are expected to be present on your academic record. Okay, we're almost done, but I just wanted to share with you how Atlantic Bridge will support the creation and completion of your application. So let's take a quick overview of our website. When you first visit our homepage, atlanticbridge.com, you'll see the iconic Campanelle Bell Tower on Trinity College Dublin's campus. And above the bell tower, you'll see a navigation bar on the top of your screen or side of your screen if on mobile. And I just wanted to highlight a few elements that I would encourage you to review after this presentation. First and foremost is the Programs tab. Now this tab will take you to pages that detail entry requirements for each of the universities. And as a reminder, we only went over high-level entry requirements today, so it is in your best interest to review these as soon as possible. And I want to stress that each university does have slightly different and distinct program requirements from one another, and that is the biggest reason as to why you'll want to explore these pages. Next slide, please. So under the Student Experience tab, you'll find information about licensing in the US and Canada, and you'll also find information about UK and Irish residency and licensing if you find yourself wanting to become a physician in Ireland. The Help and Guidance tab is home to our Student Stories page, which is a great collection of reflections from current Atlantic Bridge students and alumni who've wanted to share their stories with prospective students like you. Finally, the Application Guideline tab is a great resource for all things related to creating your application. And the FAQ page is particularly packed with great information about applying and what to expect throughout the application process. And if there's something that you can't find or want to know more about, you're always encouraged to contact our team for additional support. So how would you actually start an application with us? Well, to do so, you may click on either of the green buttons you see on our homepage, either on the top right or bottom left that say request an application or apply here. Or you can use that QR code that you see on your screen to open up the application request form on your mobile device. Once you've clicked or used that QR code, you'll be taken to the application request form, which is where you will provide some basic information about your academic background so that we may send you an application packet. And on the form, make sure that you select specifically the right year of entry. For this year would be 2026, and ensure that you select yes for question 1 if it's true, to confirm that you meet academic requirements for all of our programs. If you select no on this one, you won't receive an application packet just like this one. This application packet is sent to you via email with information on which schools and programs you're eligible to apply for based on the information you just provided on the previous form. On this application packet, you will find links to the application instructions page and guide to letters of recommendation page, and of course, our comprehensive FAQ page that you saw on that previous screen. This page will also show you information on fees and deadlines. Now, while this information is posted around our website, it's conveniently located in your application packet for quick access. Most importantly, in the application packet, you will find the link to create your Atlantic Bridge portal, and I've highlighted it on the screen for you there so you can find it easily. This is the link so that you can create your application, pay your fees, and start uploading your supporting documents. When you open the portal link for the very first time, you'll be prompted to create a new account. Now, reapplying candidates, please note that you will also be required to create a new account as we wipe our portal annually each summer in preparation for the next cycle. Once you've created an account, you will log in and fill out initial application details, and you'll input your contact information, academic information, and some other basic details as well. Please note that you cannot click back in the application while you're actively using it, so to the best of your ability, continue filling out the rest of the application, and any changes can be made later on by your application and admissions counselor. Now, upon completing the initial application you just saw on the previous screen, you want to start selecting your discipline and schools. And you absolutely can apply to multiple disciplines using the same application documents. You do not select a program length when applying because the admissions committees will be assessing your application based on the highest academic level you've achieved and determine which program you'd be best suited for. After this school selection is made, you'll be emailed by your assigned admissions counselor within 1 to 2 business days. And before you upload any of your documents, I strongly encourage you and recommend that you watch this video that you see on your screen, linked on our QR code right there, but also available on our YouTube page. And you might hear a familiar voice while you're listening. That would be me. I did this one. And there are several documents that you'll need to be submitting yourself before our team can complete your application. You'll submit the following items directly to the Atlantic Bridge portal. First and foremost, your 2-page personal statement, then your 2-page resume or CV, which stands for curriculum vitae. Resumes should not include a cover letter. You will also submit your courses in progress if applicable, and this is a document that you would type up yourself detailing your current and upcoming coursework for the year, and we send you an example of what that looks like. Finally, any test and exam scores that might be applicable to your application as well are items that you will be submitting yourself. With the exception of MCAT and GAMSAT scores, MCAT scores shall be sent through the AAMC to Atlantic Bridge. And I do apologize, GAMSAT scores are able to be submitted yourself to this platform. We'll also be needing the following documents. First are your official transcripts, which should be sent by your school to Atlantic Bridge. We'll also need 2 letters of recommendation, which will be uploaded by your letter writers to the letter of recommendation portal. And if you're wondering, can I upload my own transcripts and letters of recommendation? Well, the answer is a resounding no. And our team will have to let you know if we do see that those documents have attempted to be uploaded by you. Now, one of my favorite questions from students is, how do I stand out in the application process? Well, the Irish schools are assessing your applications, and they'll review applications holistically. So it's very, very much encouraged to present your best self in all aspects of your application. First and foremost, the Irish schools are seeking high marks in science and math subjects. What are those subjects again? Chemistry, biology, and either math or physics. You'll also want to demonstrate high grades on these types of courses in your transcripts, as those will be the courses they're really looking into on your documents. Letters of recommendation are also frequently underappreciated for the impact that they hold in your application. I encourage you to seek out individuals who can speak highly of you and provide context about who you are from a third-party perspective. This is especially beneficial for looking for an academic letter of recommendation writer because it allows your referees to share how you would perform in an academic setting that the admissions committees can mostly equate to how you might perform in a medical or any other healthcare program. Now, I strongly discourage you from asking family members and close loved ones to write these letters, because I promise you I have seen letters from students' best friends, mom, and even grandpa. And I'm sure that all these individuals would have lovely, wonderful tidbits to share with the admissions committees, but the committees would much rather have a letter from a teacher, professor, employer, volunteer coordinator, or even physician that you have worked with. Now, the personal statement is also a place for you to share your journey with the schools. Since you only have 2 pages to work with, make sure that you focus on the question, why are you interested in studying your discipline, and what steps have you taken to achieve your goal? Now, this is the perfect time to bring your loved ones into the application process to read through your personal statement and see if there's anything important that you might be missing from your journey in this document. Additionally, volunteering and shadowing experience is great to have on your application as well. For dentistry and for physiotherapy applicants, you are expected to have this relevant experience in the respective fields, but it can benefit all applicants to have that experience. After all, the universities do want to ensure that they know that you can understand and appreciate the healthcare environment that you'll hopefully be working in. Now, these type of volunteer and shadowing-based experiences are also great to include on your well-rounded CV and resume. Truthfully, you're encouraged to include both anything that pertains to the healthcare field and experiences and activities that you're also passionate about outside of the realm of healthcare. Now, a few quick tidbits before we jump into the Q&A here. First and foremost, applications are now open, and you can start yours today. The deadline to submit the application fee is November 15th, and please note that application fees are non-refundable. Fees submitted after November 15th are subject to increased costs. You can also submit your supporting documents either before or after the November 15th deadline. However, we strongly encourage that all supplementary documents are submitted no later than late November to allow ample time for manual document processing. That's right, every document that comes through Atlantic Bridge is manually processed by one of our team members and added to your application. The Irish schools will begin assessing applications for the first round of the rolling admissions process in January. Now, some of you might be familiar with the term rolling admissions process, but it works a little bit differently with the Irish schools. The rolling admissions process with the Irish schools means that the admissions process is ongoing, and there's no specific date by which final decisions will be made. All available seats in the program are determined by the uptake of students accepting or not accepting a place in the program in the recent round of assessments. And anyone who completes their application on and before December 15th, including anyone that may have completed on August 1st, are considered in the same first round of offers. If you'd like to be considered and included in the first assessment of the rolling admissions process, we advise you to complete your application with all supplementary documents, once again, as early as late November, but absolutely no later than December 15th for that first round. First round interviews may take place as early as February and March as an additional note. And once again, should you need anything from our team, please feel free to give us a call or send us an email. As you can see from the presentation, there are a lot of moving parts, and that's why we at Atlantic Bridge are here to help. Phew! I know that was a lot of information, a lot of waiting around with technical difficulties, and my brain is tired as well. So let's just take a moment and take a deep breath and bask in the beauty of the cliffs of mohair. Ah, now that is a lovely view. And I once again appreciate everyone for your time today. So let's open up our Q&A because I have talked at length and I want to hear from you. So once again, please use the Q&A button at the top of your screen to ask your questions, and we'll go ahead and jump on in. And I'm going to give an applause to my back in the office team for being so wonderful and supportive with the presentation today. You guys are doing so great. Thank you so much. So we've got a question here. If the MCAT score upload is a requirement on the application but is not needed for the school I'm applying to, will it be removed? Will the school look at it? Great question. So yes, so let's say you're a graduate entry medicine student and you're applying to the 4-year program at University College Cork and the 5-year program at Trinity College Dublin. Since Cork requires the MCAT, we will include your MCAT score in that application, but Trinity College Dublin does not consider the MCATs, so we will be removing that from your application. As far as Trinity College Dublin goes and knows you didn't take an MCAT, they will have no idea one way or another. Are GPAs below 3.0 for a bachelor's program still considered in an application process, or is there a strict cutoff? So we will never, on our side, deny you from being able to apply to a program in Ireland. But as far as competition goes, meeting minimum requirements is something that you'll at least want to have in your application, as truthfully, the process has gotten more and more competitive each year. And there is a good chance that if you are below the GPA cutoff, that your application is simply not going to be competitive. We don't want you to waste your money. The schools don't want you to waste your time. So if you find your GPA is maybe hovering really close to a 3.0, you might have a better chance. But if you're at 2.7, 2.8, I'm going to say that in all likelihood, your application is just not going to be competitive. But feel free to give our office a call if you want to chat a little bit more about your background. Let's see here. Oops. It's new posts. What do we got going on? If you completed a pre-med program outside of North America, will that still be considered with a WES evaluation done? So if you completed a pre-med program outside of North America, we will ask for those transcripts to be sent to us. If it was presented not in English, the transcript itself, we will need some form of translated version official of the document, preferably to be sent by your school, but if you need translation services, we have some recommendations on our website. The universities in Ireland will consider all academics presented on your application. So if you have non-North American coursework, it's still going to be assessed. It's still going to be considered. As far as how they assess those, I know on their side, they have a lot of resources to help identify and parse through transcripts that might not be North American or Irish, but rest assured your application would be assessed with all the qualifications present, including non-North American ones. Let's see what the next one is. And my team on the back end is also answering questions for you as well. So if you don't hear me live answering your question, check to see that the questions are also being asked and answered in the typed format as well. If you're applying with a bachelor's degree in a university graduating June 2026, will the final year of our undergraduate studies be considered in the CGPA? So typically the GPA is based off of the documents and academics that our team has present for you. If you have upward trends in your academics, that's great to see on your application. It'll be visible in your updated marks, which is something that we do ask for you to send after the end of your first semester as soon as those marks become available. So the documents that the universities will see are your transcripts, and the GPA for the most part is a guideline online. They want to see those specific science and math courses we talked about previously, and that is for them the most important aspect. Of course, they do want to make sure that you're meeting minimum requirements, so the CGPA is important, but as far as how we calculate it for the universities, it's whatever academics are present at that time. So if you have first marks in, those get added, but once again, the GPA is a guideline, and the universities are going to be parsing down into your transcript course by course to see those specific performances. On average, what percentage of people make it to residency in Canada or the US afterwards? So this is a great question, and I wish I could answer a better question or have a better answer for you than we are not 100% sure, because not all students report back to us. We mostly just see students going into the universities, and some of them are kind enough to share their statuses when they finish up the program. So we wouldn't be able to say residency matching rate specifically. Some universities do share that. I believe RCSI tends to have a pretty high matching rate. Off the top of my head, I know they tend to self-report. In previous years, I've seen it in the 75-80% range for matching, specifically back to North America. But once again, not all North Americans choose to return home. Some choose to go elsewhere. So that information isn't necessarily reported in those statistics. It's usually how many people match to Canada, what percentage of people are matching to the US, but not necessarily where folks ended up taking on a residency. But I would recommend, if you have specific questions to some of these universities, you can reach out to them and ask. They'd be happy to share that with you. For universities such as University College Dublin or University College Cork, if by the time your application is reviewed, you will have turned 17, will your application still be considered? So for programs that have age requirements, those would be for University College Dublin, RCSI, the University of Galway, and RCSI Bahrain. You must be 17 years old by January 15th of 2027. So your second semester in the program, you must have turned 17 by January 15th. So as long as you're currently 16, will be 17 by January 15th of 2027, you will be considered. It's not something the universities have to be concerned about for your application. Let's see, if you weren't a traditional science student with a BA in science, but took some university science courses and completed a pre-med program outside of North America, would that still be sufficient to apply? BA in science. I would say go ahead and contact our office. I'm a little confused about your question, but if you contact our office directly, we'd be happy to chat with you for whoever sent that question in. Let's see here. Does Atlantic Bridge provide support for the interview? So no, our team unfortunately is not trained to provide interview support. However, the interviews are, for the most part, very, very casual, in that the universities really just want to get to know you, put a name to the application. They're not going to ask you any medical questions or any specific knowledge-based questions. Mostly they're going to ask you, why are you interested in the program? Why are you interested in coming to Ireland? You should definitely be able to answer those types of questions, because one, they want to make sure you understand the healthcare program that you're going into and why you're passionate about it, as well as why specifically in Ireland? What about Ireland draws you? So being able to answer those types of questions would be in your best benefit, but our team does not have specific interview support. But that being said, once again, it's not knowledge-based. It's going to be entirely personality and just putting a name to a face for the universities to get to know you a little bit better. How many people will be accepted to University College Cork, University College Dublin, University of Galway, and RCSI through the 5-year undergraduate stream? Now, each program does have their own requirements and limitations to how many students they can take each year. Truthfully, we don't have those numbers yet. So we'll know them in winter, usually around, I'd say February. So I would check back within our office to double check the numbers for next year. But if you call our office after the webinar, we can give you some more details about what this past year's numbers looks like. Unfortunately, I don't have access to those at the moment, or they would take a little bit too long to find for our time today. But there is a set amount for specifically Atlantic Bridge students, and only Atlantic Bridge students are competing against other Atlantic Bridge students for those spaces. So that is a benefit to you, knowing that your application is competing against people with similar academic as well as physical, environmental backgrounds to you. What number should I contact to discuss a particular educational pathway? It should be 949-723-6318. And so once again, if you just go to atlanticbridge.com, scroll to the bottom of your screen, all of our contact details will be there as well. And lots of great questions are coming in. I do see some people have hand raising. Right now, because of our technology, we can't utilize those hand raising elements. So you'll need to utilize the Q&A button to ask your questions. We have a question here about scholarships available for any of the colleges. So unfortunately, scholarships are not available for international students with the universities. Most students will be taking out either federal loans. Those are available with each province, as well as sometimes lines of credit, student lines of credit with various financial institutions. Some students will also have private funding, support from family or friends, and some students will also work during their studies. So it's really just a matter of what financial decisions make best sense for you, but unfortunately scholarships are not available. What is the average IB grade that students apply with and can be competitive with? So there are minimum requirements. I would once again recommend looking at our website to see the minimum requirements for the schools you are searching for. I have seen students who meet the minimums get in, but I have seen students who exceed those minimums get in as well. I would say competitive scores tend to be probably 38. Once again, exclusive of bonus points, inclusive of bonus points. But higher scores are going to bode better for you. Feel free to reach out to our team if you have questions about your specific predicted grades for the IB program. Once again, lots of great questions coming in here, so be patient with our team as we get to these. Are BCS grads with more science courses given admission preference, or all GPAs considered the same weight? So once again, GPAs are a guideline. Undergraduate GPAs are calculated as undergraduate GPAs. So there are considerations taken into account for different types of programming. Biology and chemistry type programming might be a little bit more academically difficult or have more difficulties getting grades that are high in those courses compared to someone who might be in a social sciences or potentially in a humanities background, depending on what type of program or what school they're a part of. So the universities are considering all facets of the academic background that you present, including the course load, including the difficulty of the program, including where you went to school. But for them, the GPAs are a guideline. They're far more interested in seeing your performance in those chemistry, biology, and either math or physics courses. Let's see, next here. If I'm applying to dentistry and will have completed my degree by April of 2026, am I still eligible to apply for fall 2026? Yes, so any applications for students who are completing a degree by August of 2026 are considered for graduate entry or the bachelor's degree level entry points. The DAT is not considered and not required with the schools. If you take one and add one to your application, our team's going to bop it off of the application. So do not include one. It's not considered with the Irish schools. Let's see. If you're applying with both your high school grades and IB grades, would you be considered the most optimal option? And if you did not achieve your predicted grades, could the offer be rescinded? So two great questions here. Once again, academics are holistically considered, and you're considered based on the highest level of academics that you present on your application. In this case, it would be your IB grades. Now, of course, they will have access to, if you're like, for example, part of the Ontario student population and OSSD transcript, for example, will be utilized as part of the assessment process, but those IB grades are going to be the determining factor for you, assuming you meet 5-year program requirements. And if you don't achieve a conditional offer, now a conditional offer with the university means that saying, hey, we've offered you a spot in the program conditionally on the basis of you completing X, Y, and Z elements. So this might be your final score on your IB predicted. And if you don't meet your IB predicted score requirements for the conditional offer, then yes, your offer can be rescinded. Unfortunately, I have seen students not meet it before, and unfortunately, the offer was revoked. So make sure that if you do get a conditional offer, you work as hard as you can to maintain that conditional offer because it is conditional. You do have to meet certain requirements to maintain your status. Great questions, everyone. Great questions. Is there a mental health issue affecting the first semester of university students and sorry. Apologies, everyone. Thank you for your patience. I'm a little sick today, so I'm just taking my time as best I can. Is there a mental health issue affecting the first semester university grade? Can I use high school transcripts instead? I see. So someone's asking if they, for example, have some issue on their university level transcripts, can they only apply using high school grades? No, you have to unfortunately provide all academic coursework as requested by your application, or it could be considered academic dishonesty. And I have seen students try to scoot around the rule like that, but the R team or the admissions committees in Ireland will be able to find it. They're very, very thorough. And if you do if you're not presenting all of your academics truthfully on your application, it can bode poorly for you. So do not skip anything. Once again, they take into consideration all elements of your academics, including things that you might discuss in your personal statement, like a mental health consideration, because that is important to your journey. And so I would definitely recommend speaking on that as best as you can in the application so that the universities have all access to that information. Do I need to take the CASPER prior to applying to RCSI for medicine or after selection for interviews? So the process for RCSI is going to be complete your application, take the CASPER exam, and from that, the universities will use both the CASPER score and your application to determine who's going to be invited to interview. So it's complete application, complete your CASPER exam, get invited to interview, and hopefully get an offer. If I'm applying in second year undergrad, do I need to take the CASPER test for the 5-year medicine program? Yes. So any 5 and 6 year program applicants to RCSI will be required to take the CASPER exam. 4-year graduate entry medicine program requirements are not asking for that CASPER exam. So anyone who's applying from high school or applying during their university studies, but who will not be having a degree by August of next year, will need to take the CASPER. Are the IB score requirements different for the 5-year versus the 6-year programs? Sometimes it depends on the university, so feel free to look on our website and see those specific requirements for the programs that have IB pathways. And once again, some schools do not have a 6-year pathway for students and only have 5-year. Those would be Trinity College Dublin and University College Cork. Do I have to provide my high school transcript even if I'm applying with my bachelor's degree? So you will have to provide your high school transcript if you will not be completed with your bachelor's degree by August of year of entry, so August of next year, or if you're applying to RCSI Balrain or Queen's University Belfast. Those two programs require high school transcripts regardless of what level of education you're applying with to those schools. There's something here questioning about a letter indicating what happened. I'm not too sure what you're talking about there. So please feel free to call our office and we'd be happy to chat with you about that. What date does the CASPER need to be completed by for admissions to 2026 RCSI 6-year program? CASPER test this year is scheduled for January 18th. It's the only session that is currently scheduled, and you will need to take the exam that day in order to be qualifying for RCSI. I believe January 18th is a Sunday, and it's at a set time. It's online, no visiting any specific physical location to take that exam, but that is something that will be required for those who are applying to RCSI's 5- and 6-year medicine program. Can we get details on the tuition for the 4- to 6-year programs in medicine, including living costs? So for the medicine programs, we have not only medicine, all of our programs tuition costs for this past year, so the 2025-2026 academic year on our website under the FAQ page. It's within each individual's discipline drop-down menu. I don't have those available to me at the moment, so please check those out on our website. Once again, that's going to be on our FAQ page for this past year. Chances are the costs will go up for the next cycle. We don't have that information available yet, but the universities will provide that usually during the winter, spring of next year. Living costs, generally, I would say for living costs annually, students should account for about 22,000 euros, not Canadian, euros for non-tuition expenses. So living, transportation, food, etc. Those the rough costs you're going to see. And financing the journey to Ireland is usually going to be a combination of student lines of credit, federal loans, private funding, and potentially school working abroad where it is applicable. Is the initial application due November 15th weighted equally with all supporting documents? So all documents and applications completed by December 15th are considered in the same group. So that's for anyone who is applying starting August 1st, completing August 1st through completing December 15th. November 15th is the application fee deadline. Now, due to the processing timeline that it takes for some of our documents, I do recommend that you, as soon as possible, get those into us because it is manually processed. But all applications completed between August 1st and December 15th are considered within the same timeline in the same group for the first round. We have next. How is the CASPER different from the UCAT? I unfortunately don't know much about the UCAT, but the CASPER, once again, is a judgment, morals, and ethics-based exam. It's not something you can prepare for exactly. So, for example, one of the questions might be presented to you that you are the manager of a toy store, and there's a customer who comes in wanting to return a toy that they had bought for their child because their child has to get a emergency surgery that's very costly, and this toy costs a little bit of money, and they're just trying to get a return so they can help fund this surgery that's necessary for their child. Now, your store has a policy where a receipt is required to make a return, and your employee who is assisting this customer is concerned and isn't sure what to do. Do you honor this person's return due to their circumstances, or do you follow store policy as you're the manager? So that is the kind of situation you'll be presented with. I don't believe that the UCAT includes elements like this. If that's the case, I apologize, I'm not familiar with that exam requirement. But the CASPER is required. You have to take the CASPER. There's no alternate to the CASPER for RCSI. And if you've taken it previously, you will need to take it again for RCSI specifically. Resources for preparing for the CASPER, those would be on the CASPER website that it's hosted through. It's called Acuity Insights. When you request an application or visit our CSI's page on our website, the Atlantic Bridge website, we have a link to the Acuity Insights page, and that has a lot of resources, including, I believe, a practice exam. So I'd recommend checking that out if you are concerned about the CASPER exam. Can you choose to apply with your high school grades for the 6-year program, even if you're taking the IB diploma? So you still will need to present IB diploma marks if you're taking them. Once again, you shouldn't be trying to mitigate or preventing some academics for showing on your application. You should have everything on your application that is available to you, including IB diploma. Now, you can let our team know if, hey, I'm taking the IB diploma, but I don't want to be considered for the 5-year program. We can try to relay that to the schools for you, but ultimately it's up to their admissions committees to determine what level of education you might be best suited for and what program type you might be suited for 5 versus 6-year program. Is the university fee that's due November 15th all the application fees? Yes. So application fees are due November 15th. If you pay after that date, it's just going to cost more. So I'd recommend paying no later than November 15th, as it's the cheapest cost that you will see. Can I apply to more than one medicine program through Atlantic Bridge? Yes, absolutely. As long as you're eligible for the program, you can apply for as many programs as you wish. Once again, we will let you know if there's any programs you're not eligible for based on your application. But if you really, really wish to apply to those schools, we will allow you to. Just note that if you don't meet minimum requirements for the schools, chances are you're not going to be considered. So we just ask you to think and make sure that you understand if you don't meet minimum requirements, you probably won't get an offer. Let's see here. If you have a bachelor's degree and are completing a bachelor's degree, is your only option for medical school the 4-year GEM program? Yes, only at University College Cork, University College Dublin, the University of Limerick, and RCSI. You can still apply to the 5-year programs that do not require an MCAT at University of Galway, Trinity College Dublin, and RCSI Bahrain. Are there any extenuating circumstances section when uploading a transcript? No, there's not, unfortunately, but you can always mention extenuating circumstances on a personal statement, maybe speak about how those challenges impacted you and what you have done to mitigate those challenges as best as you could. But I would say that's the best place to put it in an application. Or even if you have a referee who might have worked with you during that time of challenge, you could even ask them, hey, would you be willing to speak on that briefly in their letter of recommendation? That's a place that you don't necessarily have as much impact on, but if they do speak on it, it can benefit you in having a little more time and space in your personal statement to reference things that are also important to your journey. Although a 3.0 is the mark cutoff, what do you find is a competitive average? Depends on the program you're applying for, but generally speaking, I would say that competitive GPAs that we tend to see for across most of the programs is probably going to be about a 3.4, 3.5 and above. That's where I would tend to see typically our more competitive students emerge. I've toured RCSI and they word it as you'll be invited to take the Casper exam. Does that mean that they will let me know if I should take the test since I'm being considered, or will I take it no matter what if I apply? You'll take it no matter what. So I think it's just a wording uh, difference, but you will be required to take the exam, and we send you the information within your application packet for how to register for the exam when you register with us. What is a competitive MCAT score for the four-year graduate entry program at RCSI? I wouldn't really be able to speak to that. It just depends on the year. I would say, meeting minimum scores is absolutely beneficial to you. That's going to be a 503 for RCSI. But I'd say competitive MCAT scores I've seen in the past tend to be probably 506, 507 and higher for that program. If you have Irish heritage, can you qualify for domestic fees? That's a great question. I would recommend that you reach out to our team directly because it's a little more complicated than what I can get into in today's webinar. And you just want to make sure that you have that information in details. But Atlantic Bridge applications are not able to get you are not able to get you EU-based fees. So either if you get an application through Atlantic Bridge, you will only qualify for non-EU fees, which means you would pay the international tuition fee if you did want to be considered for exclusively in country EU-based fees, cheaper fees, quote unquote. You would need to apply directly through the university. Let's see here. We've got 10 more minutes, guys, so I might not be able to get to all the questions here. Once again, my team is working really hard on the back end trying to get to all your questions. And if we don't get to all of them today, please don't fret. You can always contact our team directly. We'd be happy to chat with you over the phone or over email. How many seats are available for the dentistry or medicine for Canadian students? So once again, those change year to year. I don't have those numbers in front of me at the moment, and they will differ depending on the school you're applying to. Now, for all Atlantic Bridge students, they will be competing against other Atlantic Bridge students for spaces. It's not Canadian only or US only, it's Atlantic Bridge, which predominantly I would say are Canadian students by a wide margin. I'd say probably anywhere from annually 85 to 90% of our students are Canadian, even maybe a little bit more. So chances are higher chances that you're going to have a larger Canadian population, regardless of what school you go to, but the numbers are going to differ school to school. When do the offers for the first round of admissions usually come up for Trinity College Dublin and University College Cork Dentistry? And when do you need to accept the offer? So changes year to year. These schools are going to be operating on their own timelines and we don't have control over that. Generally speaking, I would say first round offers for these schools tend to come out between I'd say March and April. Sometimes maybe it could be as early as February, but I'd say March and April tend to roughly be the initial first round offer timeline. And how long do you have to accept the offer? For the first round, I'd say typically you have somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks. For other programs, it might be a little bit shorter. It also depends on if you get an offer later on in the cycle. You might have a little less time because universities are trying to make sure they have a full class and they want to give everyone who's still waiting for a decision from the school to have a chance to consider the option. So once again, 2 to 3 weeks, I'd say typically, but it can be as short as I've seen in maybe a week or 10 days and up to a month. But I'd say 2 to 3 weeks is the general timeline. For the dental programs, what's the difference between a 4, 5, and 6-year program? Dental programs only offer a 5-year program, so there is no numerical difference there. Is there on-campus housing for RCSI? So for housing, with regards to accommodations for all the universities, it is handled independently, kind of each year for the students by Atlantic Bridge and sometimes by the support of the school. RCSI, I don't know what their on-campus housing was this past year, but if you give our office a call, we'd be happy to share with you a little bit more about that process. But for your first year, our team and the universities will help get you housing for your first year. So as long as you follow through on timelines and everything that we've requested of you throughout that process, you will have housing available to you. What does the interview entail for the medical programs? This includes RCSI, UCC, UCD, and Galway. So for interviews for medical programs, Galway and University College Cork do not participate in interviews, so their decisions are exclusively going to be based on your applications. Interviews for RCSI and University College Dublin, as I talked about previously, are very much more informal, more casual. They just want to get to know you, get to know why you're interested in their program, why you're interested in studying the field that you're looking into, so medicine in this case, and specifically why in Ireland, because that is a big transition for a lot of people. So what draws you to the program, the school, and the country as a whole? Do the referees just go to the Atlantic Bridge letter of recommendation, request a link, and upload the letter? Yes, it is that simple. They will request a link, which is a verification link to verify the identity of the referees. And this is to ensure that students aren't trying to send their own letters of recommendation. And we see it try to happen all the time, and we do catch it. So if you try, we will be able to note it, and we'll let you know, hey, we need your referee to upload it to our page directly. Got some more questions here. What is required for the minimum GPA for dentistry? So for dentistry with Trinity College Dublin and University College Cork, they're typically going to be seeking, I'd say, about a 3.3 at minimum. And can you apply after 2 years if you complete prerequisites for dentistry entry requirements in Canada? It depends. Do you have a bachelor's degree? If you do, then you may apply to these programs. If you don't yet have a bachelor's degree, you may not apply to Cork or to Trinity College Dublin. Assuming I finish applications to RCSI this week, when will I find out if I'm accepted? First round decisions usually come out, I'd say, between February and March for RCSI, but the latest offers have gone out, I have seen, as late as August. So February to August is the time that you have to wait. And I know that is a little bit of a different timeline, but Ireland is a different country and they do follow their own system for sending out offers. So it's going to look a little different than the North American circuit. How many people on average apply to Atlantic Bridge for the 5-year track to medicine? That also kind of tends to change year to year, but I would say that annually we see for across all of our programs anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 people applying. So it changes on a year-to-year basis, but you kind of do the math that it is just generally going to be more competitive. About 400 students across all of our programs get into the universities in Ireland, so that would mean you're looking at like kind of a 1 in 5 roughly, but once again, it depends on your academic background. It depends on the competition of the year, and it depends on how many seats are available in the program. So that's really going to determine how many people get into these programs annually. Let's see here, what do we have next? Will schools inform students if they are not selected through email, or you not be hearing back if you're not selected? Oh, no. You will absolutely be hearing back from every school you've applied to, regardless of what the decision is from the university. So you will have a formal decision. Once again, if it's an offer, a waitlist offer, or a regret, you will get that via email from all the schools you've applied to. And just doing a quick time check, we have a little less than 5 minutes, so we will be showing up pretty soon here. And if we haven't answered your question, do reach out to our team. We're available in the office to help support you as well. Just to clarify, Atlantic Bridge supplies housing to students. Well, we support the universities in helping you guys secure housing. It's different depending on the school you're going to. So go ahead and give our office a call to better explain it if you have specific questions about which university. And we help you supply housing for the first year. When does the academic year start in Ireland? It starts typically at the very earliest, the end of August, but typically I'd say within the first 2 weeks of September. Trinity for high school students only accepts IB students. If you're applying with an undergraduate degree, you may apply, but if you're not completing an IB diploma and you do not have an undergraduate degree, you may not apply to Trinity College Dublin. Let's see. Letters of recommendation, how many are needed for high school applicants? So for all applicants, you will be required to have 2 letters of recommendation. One should be from a teacher or professor, preferably someone who has taught you in a math or science course, and a second letter can really be from anyone. But if you're applying to dentistry, it's recommended you have a dental letter of recommendation, and if you're applying to physiotherapy, especially for University College Dublin, it is recommended you have a physiotherapist write you a letter. Someone's asking, could you please explain how getting an IB 38 is equivalent to getting an 85% for admission requirements? So once again, 85% is that high level number. IB program requirements are going to be a little bit different because those are for the 5-year program and tend to be even more competitive. So go ahead and give our office a call. We can give you a little bit better of an explanation on maybe where your status is looking like and what schools you're looking to apply for, and we can better support you. Let's see here. Does having a master's add to your GPA, or do you consider graduate GPA over the bachelor's when applying to the 4-year medicine program? So graduate entry medicine program applicants, if you're applying with a master's degree, that master's GPA is considered separately from your undergraduate GPA. All decisions are effectively going to be based on your undergraduate degree performance. So if you do have like a lower CGPA for your undergraduate degree and a higher CGPA for your graduate degree, those will be considered separately. And ultimately, the universities have minimum entry requirements based on an undergraduate degree because not all students are applying with a master's degree. That being said, they look at all aspects of the application, including postgraduate coursework and degrees. So those can add to the competition level of your application. So it does benefit you, but it won't replace your CGPA for an undergraduate degree. I think we have some questions about housing here, both on the cost and how it works. For just a brief overview, and this will probably be our last question today. So housing with the universities is going to be university dependent. Some universities have on-campus housing ready for you. Other universities are going to have partnership programs with facilities that are located near the university but may not be officially on-campus housing. It once again depends campus to campus, but our team gives you all the resources that you need regarding booking housing and what options are available to you upon receiving an offer. So once you get an offer, that's when we will fully know what the options are for you that year, how the university is going about it, if there are on-campus facilities. But rest assured, you will be housed. We have not had any issues with students not being able to find housing in their first year in my time with Atlantic Bridge, and as far as I know, ever. So we will definitely make sure that you are housed. No worries on that. And if you have questions, once again, please reach out to our team. That's what we're here for. My lovely team back home, would you mind going to the final slide of this presentation? It's not much different, but I just wanted to really, once again, sincerely appreciate you guys for joining us this afternoon for the presentation today. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulties on our side, so I really appreciate your patience on that. And there will be a recording available on our YouTube page tomorrow, Friday, the 3rd of October. But I just wanted to once again reiterate my gratitude to you for attending, to my team back in the office for all of their hard work and answering your questions. And I wanted to leave you on an Irish Gaelic. Thank you and see you later. But in Gaelic, once again, it is Slagafol. Thank you everyone for joining and have a wonderful rest of your day. Cheers!